In 2 hours a movie is usually over. However, some films leave an enduring impression on our memory. One such film is the one we will be explaining today. The film is based on the real-life story of an 8-year-old child who suffered from too extreme torture. The incident in question took place in 2008. All people across the world, including those in Korea, everyone were deeply affected by the occurrence. If after seeing the entire video your eyes don't start to moisten, then definitely give a dislike. So without further ado, let's go to the main story of the movie. The film begins in a little Korean town. In the skies, a kite was in the air. The kite appeared to be a representation of human freedom. Then a little family is shown in the altered scene. So-won is the name of this baby girl. This film's central narrative revolves around her. So-won's mother manages a store, so she is thus constantly busy. That's for So-won went to school by herself. Her father is employed at a modest factory. Their family was content overall. At school, So-won's best friend was called Pet. They were constantly arguing with one another, which is common matter in young children. However, one day while So-won was getting ready for school, a torrential downpour broke down outside. So-won's mother tells her, "I will drop you off at school today." So-won replied to her mother, "Mom, it will take me only 3 minutes to go to school. But if you go with me, you will be late for work." So-won's mother then told her, "Okay, but you'll go through the main road, that will be safe for you." So-won then began walking towards her school. Then we notice a man who is keeping a close eye on So-won, and the kite we all saw flying in the sky at the start of the film is now lying on the road. That is, the kite which we thought was a symbol of freedom has suddenly fallen from the sky to the ground. That is, there will undoubtedly be some hazard. The man is then seen standing in front of So-won, and he's got that kite in his hand. The man says to So-won, "Your umbrella is very beautiful. Will you give me some space under your umbrella?" So-won looked around with terrified, but there are no people on the streets because of heavy rainfall. So-won then tells the man, "Please uncle, let me go. I'm almost late for school." But this 8-year-old child had no idea what was in waiting for her. In the next scene we can see that So-won's possessions are thrown throughout. Her umbrella is likewise shattered and her school bag lies on the ground. Her tiny sneakers were also on the ground and 2 bleeding little hands appear. By now we all understand that what really happened to So-won. Scene changes and it is seen that an ambulance has arrived to take So-won. When So-won's mother came to know about this incident, she immediately went to the hospital. When So-won's mother reached the hospital, the health workers and the police stopped her from going inside, because they understood that So-won's mother would never be able to bear seeing this scene. But she is a mother. Can this obstacle prevent her from seeing her daughter? When she saw So-won, the entire earth was slipping from under her feet. So-won has serious injuries and blood stains. There were many marks of torture all over her body. Ask yourself once, can any mother endure seeing her daughter in this state? When the entire town came to learn about So-won's incident, everyone in the town began to pray for her. On the other hand, So-won's father is shown. He was really sad because he had a deep love for his daughter. So-won's mother continued to say, "Had I not let So-won to go school by alone today, my daughter wouldn't have faced this kind of situation." She constantly blames herself a lot. In the meantime, the doctor told them, So-won need immediate surgery because her situation is now so critical, and her bladder and stomach ought to be removed and instead, wastages bags must be installed separately. So-won's father started crying as soon as he heard this. He is wondering how much a little girl had to endure at such a young age. So-won's surgery starts. In a while the surgery became successful. So-won's father arrives to see her after she regains consciousness following the operation. He sits near So-won's bed and tries to talk with her. So-won then asked, "Dad, you didn't go to work today?" So-won's father replies quietly, "Today my work is over." So-won told her father, "Dad, the man has tortured me a lot, caused me a lot of pain, you must punish him." So-won's father says, "Okay, I will surely punish him, and the doctor assured me that you would be well soon." But he is a father. He could no longer endure the sight of his precious daughter's face. As a result, he sobs his way out of the room. Just then a lady police officer comes there and she informs So-won's parents, the man who did this heinous act, he has been identified by the police. As soon as So-won's parents heard this, they immediately went to the police station. So-won's father wanted to punish the man at any cost, but the police officers inform him, they can't arrest that man based on just a fingerprint, they can arrest that person after recording So-won's statement. When So-won's mother comes to know about this, she gets very angry. Just then a female police officer arrives, and the officer tells them they must contact an agency called Sunflower. They help the child in such mental condition to recover from the trauma. Then So-won's mother vented her anger on the lady officer. She continued to tell the officer, if you had arrested that man earlier, nothing like this would have happened to my daughter today. The cops will never understand how painful it is for a mother to see her child in such a state. After saying this, So-won's mother walks away. The officer then asks So-won's father to bring all the toys in their home to the hospital. Because So-won likes toys, it may improve her mental condition. So-won's father came home after hearing this, and he goes to the hospital with So-won's favorite toy named Coco Man. Next we see a psychiatrist. She continues to play with So-won with Cocoman's toy. When So-won became a bit normal, she starts asking So-won questions. The doctor shows some pictures to So-won, and whenever she sees the picture of the rapist, she closes her eyes to indicate that this is the man who did something bad to her. This statement of So-won was being recorded on camera. When the doctor left So-won's room, So-won's parents were asking her various questions regarding So-won's health and mental condition. Then the doctor told them, along with So-won, you also need counseling, because the mental condition of both of you is not good at all. The doctor then gives one of her visiting cards to So-won's mother. Seeing this, So-won's mother gets a bit angry. She hands the doctor back her visiting card and says, "Do you think we're mental patients?" The scene then changes and we see the police arresting the rapist, and this incident was broadcasted by various television channels. Then a friend of So-won's father called him and told that the media is spreading this news. So-won's father raced to the hospital as soon as he heard this, because he didn't want any photographs of his daughter or what happened to So-won to be made public. He quickly shifted So-won from her room and tried to take her to another room. Then some journalists saw them. Seeing that, So-won's father picked up So-won from the bed and started running away from there. He tries to save the last dignity of his baby girl. So-won's mother also tried to stop the media workers, but at one point she fainted because she was pregnant. On the other hand, when So-won's father shifts to another room with So-won, he finds that So-won's wastages bag has burst. So-won says to her father, "Dad, have I done something wrong?" Then her father said, "No dear, you have not done anything wrong." After saying this, he begins to change So-won's soiled outfit, and then a strange and emotional thing happened. I remind you again, this movie is completely based on a true story. However, when So-won's father was changing So-won's dress, he noticed that So-won's entire body was freezing. So-won's body is deeply afraid. So-won's father could not understand why this was happening suddenly. In no time he realizes what is really going on in So-won's mind. He realizes that the rapist has undressed So-won, so now So-won is afraid of her own father too. Realizing this, So-won's father's heart was completely broken from inside. Tears came to his eyes, and he calls the doctor to change So-won's dress. Just think how painful this situation is for a father. So-won's father left the room in shame. When So-won's father comes to visit her in the evening, he finds So-won covering herself with a sheet. That is, you can understand how an incident has ruined the mentality of this little girl. So-won's father got shy again and said to So-won, "I am leaving the room. If you need anything, call me, I'll be outside." Thus the days passed, and the hospital bills are increasing day by day. So-won's father is also almost out of money. He then called his friend for help. His friend told him, "Don't worry about the money, I will manage the money anyway." He also tells So-won's father, "Don't think you're on vacation, I am also doing your work here, as a result of which you will also get salary at the end of the month." It is indeed lucky to have such friends in today's society. However, So-won's father gets a lot of confidence after hearing all these words of his friend. Then the scene changes. The rapist is brought to court. So-won's father meets this man face to face for the first time. So-won's father felt like killing the man now, but he controls his own anger. The man explained to judge that he was working on the construction site that day, and he went home after work and went to bed after drinking too much. He also wanted to explain that the police were trying to frame him with false accusations. The court then fixed the date of the case again on September 25th. So-won's father's friend was also sitting in the court. Seeing this, he took off his shoe and threw it at the man, and he continued to say, "You are a disgusting person. You are a hell worm. You won't even get a place in hell." Later it is seen that So-won's father has returned to the hospital. After reached there, he sees some people playing with So-won in cartoon dresses. So-won is also enjoying a lot. This idea was originally from the psychiatrist. That night the psychiatrist told So-won's father, since these cartoons are improving So-won's mental health, so have to play with these cartoons with So-won every day. But these cartoons had a very expensive daily rent, which So-won's father could not possibly manage on a daily basis. So-won's father gives the cartoonists their dues and asking them, "How much money should I pay if I want to buy a cartoon?" The man then said that $200. But So-won's father did not have so much money. So-won's father then requested to the cartoonist, "Can you give me a cartoon on EMI? I will repay gradually every month." Hearing this, the man was very kind to So-won's father. He gives a cartoon to So-won's dad and says, "You don't have to pay for it, just give it back to me when you're done." With this scene of this movie, it can be seen that kind people have not ended in our society. However, at night So-won's father comes in front of So-won wearing that cartoon dress, and the dress was So-won's favorite cartoon Cocoman. So-won became very happy to see this. They both started talking to each other by rote words on a writing board. At one point, So-won hugged the Cocoman cartoon, and this scene in the whole movie was very emotional. Because we know, So-won's father was inside the cartoon, and he could not hug his daughter for a long time. After this it is seen that So-won has become a very good friend with the doctor. The doctor asks So-won, "What will you do first when you go home from here?" So-won says, "I want to go to school, but I will not go, because all my friends know all these things of mine. They will make fun of me." Even though So-won was very young, she was aware of what happened to her. She continued to tell the doctor, "My mom cannot go to work properly because of my condition, and my dad is spending a lot of money for that. I pray to God every night before I sleep. This entire incident becomes a dream, but every time when I wake up in the morning, I realize that all this is real." Then what So-won told the doctor, after hearing this doctor was very worried. "Hope it gives you some thought too." So-won tells the doctor, "Please doctor, do something so that I will die quickly. I myself feel like I won't live much longer. I can't bear the suffering of my parents anymore." This part of the movie felt like everything was happening before my eyes, and tears came to my own eyes unknowingly. I don't know if you have come. However, after hearing these words from So-won, doctor tells So-won's parents everything in detail, and suggests them to taking So-won home. So-won's friend is then shown. He was very upset. He writes a note for So-won and leaves it in front of the door of So-won's house, so that So-won can see it when she comes back home. The next morning, So-won's parents were preparing to return home with So-won. So-won was still shy to look at her father, so on the way home an extra curtain was installed in the car, so that So-won feels a little comfort. As they neared the house, So-won saw the place where this bad thing happened with her. So-won then started getting sick, and when she got out of the car she vomited. When So-won stands in front of the door of their house, she finds her friends have written many notes for her. Seeing these notes, she gets a lot of confidence in herself. Next day, So-won's best friend comes to meet her. So-won's father jokingly tells him, "You did lot of mischief with So-won in school." So-won's best friend then cried. So-won's father asks him, "Why are you crying?" Then So-won's best friend said, "If I had gone to school with So-won that day, So-won's condition would not have been like this today." So-won's father hugged the baby boy and comforted him. On the other hand, since So-won has regained her confidence, so the next day she went to school with her aunt. So-won was having some difficulty walking with the waist bag, and she was wondering what she would say if her friends asked what bag it was. So-won is followed by her friends. Seeing this she felt a little uneasy. and then she saw Cocoman behind her friends. Seeing Cocoman made her feel better. Sowon's father used to try to make Sowon feel better by wearing the dress of Cocoman many times. Sowon's father gifts her a bag for hanging in place of wastage bags. Her father filled the bag with many candies, so that if Sowon's friends ask her about bag, even then she could tell it was a bag of candy. The next day when her friends ask her about the bag, Sowon says the same thing. Then Sowon took out the candy from her bag and shared it with her friends. And then again she saw Cocoman. Sowon slowly realizes, this Cocoman is none other, this is her dad. Because when she tried to talk to Cocoman, Cocoman would not give her any answer. Sowon takes Cocoman to her mom's shop, and she asked her mom, is dad inside this Cocoman? Sowon's mom then opens the head of Cocoman, and Sowon finds her dad. Her father was sweating and crying in the intense heat. Sowon wipes her father's tears and sweat, and it was understood that Sowon was getting normal little by little. The next day Sowon's father goes to meet the lawyer. The lawyer tells him, Sowon's case is getting lighter day by day, because the rapist told the court that, on the day this incident happened, he was very drunk that day, and he was not mentally healthy either. The lawyer tells him, if the man has to be punished, then Sowon herself has to go and testify in the court. But Sowon's father did not want it at all, so he goes to meet the man himself. The man started telling Sowon's father, I did not do this heinous act. The man offers money to Sowon's father that he will give some money to Sowon's father if he gets out of here. That means, he asking for a deal. But Sowon's father knew all the real facts, so he doesn't agree at all. The man then starts threatening Sowon's father. He tells Sowon's father, if I get out of jail, I will do the same thing again what I did to your daughter. Sowon's father was furious. He wanted to kill the man in the cell. Be sure to comment what you would have done if you were in Sowon's father's place. The next day the hearing started again. Today Sowon also came to the court. When Sowon is again shown the photo of the rapist in court, she raises her hand and agrees that yes, this is the man who did bad things with her. But the man's lawyer tried hard to prove him innocent. He continued to say that his client was heavily intoxicated that day. The man himself tries hard to prove him innocent. He continued, I was not mentally healthy on the day of the incident. Sowon's father was sitting in the court crying the whole time when this was going on. In no time judge announced his verdict. Judge sentenced the rapist to 12 years in prison. Sowon's father's friend stood up immediately after hearing this verdict and he asks to the judge, how is this possible? This ghoul should be given the death penalty. Sowon's mother started crying and told the judge, my daughter somehow survived and you are punishing the criminal for only 12 years. But judge told them that this was his final verdict. Sowon was watching all this from outside. As the rapist criminal was being led out of the court, Sowon's father was about to attack the man, and then it is seen that Sowon is holding her father's leg and keeps saying, please dad, go back home. And everyone in the court cried after seeing this scene. Sowon's dad took Sowon in his arms and left the court crying. The scene changes and it is shown that a younger brother was born to Sowon. And everyone is very happy. Sowon's life has become normal as before, but she is still afraid to go to school. She returns home long before school ends. She spends a lot of quality time with her brother, and this is where the movie ends. And at the end of the movie it is reported that the Korean government increased the sentence of the rapist from 12 years to 20 years. That man is still in jail in Korea and Sowon still lives in Korea with her family. So how did you feel about the story of the movie based on true events? If you like today's explanation, so please give it a like. So, goodbye for today. Be safe, be healthy. Thank you so much.